I am not a big fan of this event ordinarily, and I'll explain why, but I also think that tonight could be different. So why am I not a fan? Well, first of all, because Congress doesn't need this the way it used to. Congress stopped needing to hear the president's policy ideas and what actions they were unaware of like 100 years ago, right? This occasion became more about the game than it is about good governance after two seminal events, okay? And they happened one right after the other. The first was when President Lyndon Johnson made it a primetime TV address. That was in 1965. The ratings were huge, okay? And it became seen as an opportunity to persuade the people no more about Congress and what was happening. That led to the second game changer. The out party, which was then the GOP, demanded a rebuttal in 1966. And that was it. From then on, this has been all about tribalism with very few exceptions. The president makes a longer speech than you're used to hearing on the stump, out on the hustings during an election, justifying the statement that the State of the Union is strong. And it will be strong thanks to the president's past actions. And he will make a new set of promises that he will argue will determine whether or not this country stays strong. And there will be a big nod to cooperation. And then what happens? The other side guts the president personally and says the policy ideas are terrible and the country is in crisis. Hoping what? To get their base to reject what they just heard from the POTUS. They don't want any crossover. And the secondary hope is to build their personal profile in the process of making the rebuttal. Now, tonight, all the media is going to sit around and grade all of this, including Governor Sarah Huckabee Sanders. She's going to be giving the rebuttal for the GOP. Her challenge will be the second interest. Attacking Biden is easy. His delivery alone may be enough for her to question his competency to the satisfaction of her far-right base. But making herself look presidential, that's going to be tough, I suspect. Now, ordinarily, I might even fight the idea of doing our whole show on this address. But this year, I do believe could be different. Why? Because the country is okay by most of the main metrics, but there is no real union. Let's be honest. The game has corroded anything even approaching cooperation among the governors, among those in power. I'm not talking about the rest of us. We come together all the time over basic need. We see it in our communities. We see it in times of crisis. But these two, they couldn't even come together over a pandemic and wound up splitting the rest of us. We have people in power preferring Putin to our own president. But tonight is not a test for them. Haters gonna hate, right? Tonight is about President Biden. Can he make the case to you? Yes, it's an address to Congress, but he's not addressing Congress. He's talking to you. That's why the camera's in his face, and he'll be bouncing back and forth to different degrees of competency to two different screens that have his speech on it and the teleprompter, and he's going to be trying to make eye contact with you as much as possible. He's got a tough road. Many in his own party only support him because they see the GOP as an existential threat to democracy, and they don't have any better contender. They have a very weak bench on the Democrat side. His numbers are weak. Why? He's too quiet, too often about too much that matters. But can he change that tonight? Now, you're going to hear a lot of people say, well, one night does not really. I disagree. I disagree. Politics is about moments and momentum. I was surprised to hear the White House choice of angle tonight, leaning so much on unity. They have what's they're going to introduce as a four-part unity agenda. Ending cancer as we know it, delivering on a sacred obligation to veterans, they call it. Tackling the mental health crisis. Beating the opioid and overdose epidemic. Now, I got to tell you, I don't even like those bases. One, nobody believes you're going to get rid of cancer, okay? And you got to forget the reality that you can't forget the GOP doesn't want to give Biden anything resembling an accomplishment other than spending cuts that they could take credit for. And when you look at those issues, do we have consensus on any of them? Remember, it's not the goal, it's the how that determines the state of play in politics. How are you going to eradicate cancer? It's going to be money. They're going to fight over it. It's going to be pork. And there's going to be very little buy-in for the rest of us because none of us see, any real practical end to cancer. The one that bothers me is opioids. You better change that word to fentanyl. Yes, fentanyl is a synthetic opioid, but you need to start saying that word all the time if you want to lead in this country. It is a different animal than what we've seen. It's killing us faster, easier, and cheaper than any drug I've ever seen. I've been doing this over 20 years. Now, there also isn't the word drug cartels in there because they don't know how to take them on. They don't know what to do. And dealing with the cartels is the key, because you're never going to get it done on just the demand side. There's never going to be no demand for drugs. There's too much pain. There's too much culture. There's too much self-medicating. So you got to look at the supply. Hey, thank you for watching. Please go to newsnationnow.com, newsnationnow.com, and you can find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button down below. Then you will get more of NewsNation's fact-driven coverage.